Hello, good people of YouTube, Mountbatten here, and today we have this match in the Khabarovsk, the Tier 10 Soviet gunboat destroyer, one of my favorite ships in the game. I was very happy to finally grind through the line, well, hyper grind through the line as you guys saw, and get the Khabarovsk, and I've had a blast in her since then, and my build for her will be up on screen here momentarily. But this match does a pretty good job of showing some of the fundamental flaws with CVs that are still persisting to this day. And as I've said before multiple times, I do believe that carriers should be in the game. They were always intended to be in the game. They've been in the game just as long as many of the other classes. And it's not so much on a case by case, this ship's overpowered basis, where most of my problems with CVs come from. And truth be told, in my mind, there's really only two CVs that are truly overpowered still. Ever since MVR's reticle got nerfed, that ship's completely fine now, with the exception of maybe the AP rockets, but that's more of a whole thing by itself. But the FDR and the Enterprise are really the only two CVs that I think are still just outright broken. For the most part, with, again, the exception here and there, especially at lower tiers with double CV matches, most of the CVs are fine. However, some of just the characteristics about CVs that you just can't change without working the whole system over yet again are just not working right. Well, not that they're not working right, just don't make for a fun time, which is one of my biggest gripes about CVs, is that when the CV targets you, it's not fun, it's not challenging to overcome it, because you can't really overcome it in most cases, as you're about to see here in this match. Now, of course, the Khabarovsk is not exactly an AADD. It really isn't. It doesn't have that great of AA. Never really had that fantastic of an A rating beforehand, but, you know, it's not an AA boat. It's a very quick ship, decently maneuverable. Rudder takes a second to shift, but it's a very quick ship, pretty nimble ship, hard ship to hit for 99% of the ships in games. Anyone want to take a guess what that 1% that it's not hard to hit with? That's the CVs. So right there, just saw the Midway try to come in at the Odin, but thankfully the Odin was still stacked on the Wooster and the Rune and the Vlad and the Ismo and myself. So that Midway tried to strike the Odin in the middle of about 5 ships. Didn't go that well for him, as it shouldn't. So, with that out of the way, this match, well, the Khabarovsk first off. The Khabarovsk has to be played as an open water gunboat. It can't really sit in the back. Well, no DD can truly sit in the back except for like a Shimakaze. It can't sit in the back. It can't cap. I mean, look at my detection range, it's 9.7 kilometers. Soviet gunboat DDs and gunboat DDs in general, you tend to avoid the caps like the plague, because if you go into the caps in a gunboat DD, that's typically how you die. Well, an open water gunboat DD, shall I say. So like the Kleber and the Khabarovsk. And here comes Mr. Midway back with torpedoes this time. A very interesting choice. I thought he was maybe trying to look for me here, but torpedoes are an interesting choice. And not to, you know, downplay this guy or like dump on this guy. He's not the best CV player, as you can tell by his naked Midway being spotted 4 minutes into the match. And it's not like he's in the back and the CV went and spotted him. He's legitimately, like, I think he's within like 10 kilometers of the cap right here. That's a no-no. So he's spotted, and my team is taking shots at him. He's sitting broadside on to Odin, Vlad, what's our other battleship there? Our Lenin. So broadside on to, you know, 3 battleships. Not the smartest move there. Meanwhile, our Hakuru was doing what most CVs do. They sit in the back for a minute, see which way their teams are going, and then they make their move. So I'm trying to get up here on this flank, because now, well, one, I got the Alaska to shoot at, which I do open up on, but 2, I could also potentially get at their Midway and deal with him and take him out of the match and give our team a huge step up in terms of a tactical advantage. And this is what Khabarovsk excels at. Getting on a flank, getting in a cross-firing position, and just going to town with its awesome guns. The Soviet DD guns are amazing, the velocity is great, the HE, well, the AP alpha is really good. The HE is really good too, especially with the chance of fire, and the fire rate of the Cabros. It's just an all-around very, very nice DD, and it's one of the most tankiest DDs out there, except for, of course, like the new Strashimi and the Kleber. So here's this midway. I'm 12 kilometers away from him, opening up on him with my guns, and getting some pretty decent hits. And here comes his dive bombers. I turn on my AA now since he knows where I'm at and I'm detected anyway. And there's a fire there that gets instantly put out by the midway's automatic damage gun that does 0 damage. I'm turning here, by the way, at 38, almost 40 knots, and the midway misses that one, thank God. Now, the midway bombers are quite painful if you're in a DD. Well, if you're in any ship, midway bombers are pretty painful. But if you're in a DD, HE bombs freaking hurt. So here they come again. I'm full tilt turning again at 40 knots, and he freaking rails me there. Gets my engine, a turret, and I think he got both my torpedo tubes there, incapacitated there for a second. But thankfully those modules ate most of those bombs, because that probably would have just removed half of my health if not. Here he comes around again, gets another hit on me, and starts a fire. Thankfully the Cabros does have a heal. If you want to take it, which you should take it. If you take smoke on Cabros, you're simply playing it wrong. There's really no reason. Why would you take smoke? You know, you get a heal. It's a no-brainer decision. So anyway, I'm down to like 3/4 health right here. Midway's down to half health. I'm still trying to pursue him, and 1, do damage to him. 2, keep him lit for my team as long as I can. But he's out of gun range. The Alaska's out of gun range, however, so I start gunning down the Alaska. Here comes the Midway again with his dive bombers. Now, he did lose that whole squadron of rocket planes early on, so that may be why he's not sending them out here, so he thankfully missed that drop right there, too. So I'm trying to gun down this Alaska while trying to actively dodge the Midway's bombers. They come in, I turn hard over, and now my speed boost is running right now as well. Midway comes back into range there for a second. I start working on him. Then he's out of range, so I start working on the Alaska there again. Turning again, trying to avoid the bombs, but they get my engine and a set of torpedo tubes there. Again, thankfully, those modules taking that damage instead of my ship taking the full brunt of that damage. I get some incoming shots there from the Riga. Oddly enough, it's only been the Riga that's been shooting at me as far as surface ships go. I think this... No, North Carolina's ignoring me there too. Yep, there's more shots coming in from that Riga. North Carolina's a mere 10 kilometers away from me, so might as well get farming on him, since the Riga and Alaska are outside of my range. And here comes the Midway with his rocket planes. So, I'm trying to turn to avoid those, get my tail in toward them, presenting them with my smallest outline to shoot at. They still get my engine there. Pop damage con on that. Thankfully, that actually allowed me to dodge those Riga shots. Got 2 fires going on the North Carolina. Trying to turn away from the Riga and away from the North Carolina, and I get hit there with those rocket planes. So that's another thing about CVs. Just like you saw there, he set up a crossfire on me basically in about 5 seconds. Now, a crossfire, for those of you that don't know what that is, it's kind of like the situation I'm in right now. The enemy team, they're having to point the bows of their ship at my team, who is directly south of them. But I'm on their east, so I have their broadsides to shoot at. So if I was in a battleship right now, I could be really tanking, bringing in a lot of damage. Since I'm in a DD, I'm in a good position to hit them when they're not paying attention, and I have, of course, the full broadside of their ship to shoot at, which means I've got a lot easier time setting fires, because I can aim for the bow, I can aim for the midsection, I can aim for the stern, and I can just burn them to my little heart's content. But as you guys saw, it took me like 5 minutes to get into this position, and this Midway, he's able to set up a crossfire on me just instantly, because the planes are incredibly fast. And I actually forgot to turn my AA on right here. It's not making that much of a difference anyway, but I was streaming, and I just forgot that, hey, you know, I need that. Ooh. So I ate a big hit there. None of the modules ate that damage, but thankfully I do have Kuznetsov on here, and his Will to Victory talent kicked in and saved me there. And I finally get my AA turned on, again, trying to maneuver and turning as these bombers are trying to bomb me. I still ate only like, what was that, 1,200 damage there, because it hit the smokestack. So not the worst bit of damage there. And now, since he's been chasing me and just harassing me this entire time, I'm in the corner of the map. Thankfully, those missed. That probably would have ended me right there. it's not, and of course I don't want to be here. It's just that I'm trying to get unspotted, go undetected, but the midway's keeping me lit, and in trying to maneuver and avoid his bombs, I'm at the back of the map in a Khabarovsk. And he does try to go after me with this last plane, but thankfully those do miss. So something else that's a big issue with CVs is that he is at least half health right now. I'm at quarter health. I've been compromised in my combat efficiency quite a bit because I'm at quarter health in a Khabarovsk. He's at half health in his CV. Does not matter one bit. Doesn't matter at all. He's still able to send out full squadrons at no risk to himself. Because that's just how CVs work. They don't need to be at full health to be at full combat efficiency. They can be at 1 HP. And as long as they're in the back where they're supposed to be, they're at no risk to themselves. At all. Any other surface ship was in that position that Midway was in, the start of the match, where they just lose half of their health within the first 4 minutes. They're crippled for the rest of the game, because that's that much less damage they can take later on. With CVs, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at all. It's kind of frustrating because I went out there, I spotted him, I did damage to him, and it's all for naught because he's not compromised in his combat efficiency at all. Here comes the Midway again. I turn out again trying to avoid most of the shots there. I think I only one, and it was to the turret. So shout out to turret number 2 for taking that rocket for the rest of the Khabarovsk. And again, I'm trying to avoid him. I'm keeping my bow pointed toward the rocket plane, so when he goes in for his attack run, again, I'll be a nice slim target, and I won't be a broadside. And again, there's that Khabarovsk rudder kind of screwing me there. Ooh, gets a 5k hit off of me there. Yeah, Khabarovsk rudder isn't the quickest rudder ever, so you do drift around quite a bit. And it normally avoids damage because it's just so fast. It's such a hard target to lead. Even back in the day with the old CVs, it was a hard target to hit, but we didn't have rocket planes back then either. And of course, like with the top-down RTS style CV, you could do it, but you had to be a really good CV player to do it. But nowadays, of course, with planes that go 200 knots, and the Khabarovsk can go just over 50, I do believe, at full tilt. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how fast your DD is. The CV is always faster. And I know I'm by myself. I'm on my flank, but I mean, like, if you look at my team, they really like those islands in between B and C. Like, they really love them. So what am I supposed to do? Go sit there, sit by the Wooster, sit in the back the entire time and do no damage? I can't do that. You can't do that as a DD. You have to try and spot for your team. You have to try and do damage. You have to try and cap, which is what I'm going to do now, which isn't something you're supposed to do in a Soviet DD, but it's like we're at 80 points. Somebody's got to cap, so I got to cap. And, it's not just the CV's fault that the ship's sitting in the back of the map. That's the way the meta's been going. It's just that CVs are part of the reason that teams are sitting in the back of the map and huddling up, because like we saw at the start of the match, that's how you get effective AA now. You can't go out with just 1 or 2 ships anymore that have a decent AA rating and be, well, not, completely untouchable, but have enough of an impact that the CV may think twice about striking you. There's maybe 2 ships in the game that have enough AA to do that, and one of them's Austin, a still ship, and the other one's Holland, the Pan-Euro DD. So 2 ships out of the 300 and something ships in this game have enough AA to actually go out and be a pretty nice AA deterrent. 2 ships out of 300 and something. And of course, AA is controlled by AI and planes are controlled by players. So it doesn't really matter what you do. There's only so much you can do to get your AA to its maximum potential, whereas with the CVs controlling the planes, it's always a player. And you can always have a very skilled player on the end of those planes, controlling those planes, doing damage to you. So here I am trying to cap in the Khabarovsk in the twilight minutes of the match, and of course the CV knows exactly where I'm at right now because I'm capping. Not like it's going to take him a long time to find me anyway, because again, planes are just so darn fast, and he comes with his torpedo planes, but that is the end of the match. A very fun and engaging match there, indeed. They really gimped players when they removed BFT and AFT and replaced them with separate secondary and AA skills. Because if you could take BFT and AFT, if you were a cruiser, for example, you could extend the firing range of main battery guns and get a nice buff to your load time on your guns if they were of a certain caliber, and get a boost to your AA. For battleships, you could take those to buff your secondaries, like if you were the Germans or the American secondary BBs, and get a nice boost to your AA. They completely remove that option, and it's either or now. You can't take both because you don't have enough skill points really anymore. But I just wanted to show that match to you guys and, well, share in the pain that is the experience of being targeted by a CV and being the plaything for the CV for most of the match. Because again, like if you're that person and the CV decides to pick on you, you're gonna have a bad match. You're gonna do barely any damage because you're gonna be spending most of your time trying to avoid the planes and avoid from being removed from the match, which I did tank a lot of potential damage for my team. I believe it was like 938,000 potential damage there. Out of that amount, I believe it's something in the neighborhood of like 870,000 of it was just from the CV. So most of that was from the CV. So sure, I did a good job, you know, keeping that CV's attention on me, but I barely got rewarded for it. I think I came like 7th place in the team because potential damage isn't really rewarded all that well. Especially, you know, when you're in a DD and you take that much potential damage, you should definitely get higher place than 7th, you know, just because you were being bullied the entire time and you couldn't do damage or cap. But, you know, that's a different conversation for a different day. Anyway, guys, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I'm sure there's going to be a fun comment section, as always, when dealing with CVs. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. We're on our way now to 25,000 subscribers. We just passed 23,500 yesterday, actually. Big thank you guys for that. Anyway, guys, hope you're having a wonderful Monday. I hope to catch you guys in the next one.